Natasha Kaplinsky is an ambassador for the charity Save the Children. I travelled with them earlier this year to Mozambique, one of the worst affected countries. Nice to see you as always, Natasha. The sights, the sounds, the smells still as vivid now as they were obviously when you went first time to Mozambique?
Absolutely. I was so shocked when I went there. As a relatively new mum, I guess I just couldn't help contrast my life, what I'm able to give my children with the families that I saw. My kids choose the colour spoon that they want to eat with every morning and have quite a few tantrums. And where I was sitting on the ground feeding children with a leaf, you know, the most basic, bland diet, and the contrast was quite extreme.
I think that fact we sort of heard at the beginning of that, where we hear that there's no shortage of food in the country and yet so many people going hungry. It's very hard to get your head around that, isn't it?
It is indeed, but I mean, it's the hard reality that there are so many people, millions of people, who are literally frozen out of just being able to buy anything. I was with lots of families, went to a market with one mother. She had an income of 50 pence to last a week for a family of 6. That meant that she could buy 3 eggs. Her kids had never tasted an egg. They'd never sipped milk. They just literally have a way of life of not being able to eat.
It's hard, I guess, for you mums to see little babies like Joaquin in particular, just one of millions around the world that are affected.
Indeed, Joaquin is feed everyone. We just don't have the capacity and the ability to make sure that it happens.
And we saw Habiba, the young mum that you met. It looked like things were a bit more positive for her.
Yes, it's lovely to see Habiba with her new baby, but she's already lost one child because of malnutrition, and frankly the chances of that child surviving are pretty slim. Habiba herself, as a young mother, while she was pregnant, she'd never eaten any fish. She wasn't able to focus on anything apart from just being able to get through the day and trying not to go to bed too starving. She eats cassava for breakfast, lunch and supper. It's a root, not even a vegetable. It's devoid of any kind of nutrients. It's slightly thicker in the evening, but that's all they have to live on. And it really is such a contrast to our very rich, lavish way of life in the West.
So the G8 summit starts today, presumably yet another call to action from Save the Children and others.
Absolutely, indeed. I know you have David Cameron coming on the sofa later on. I know he's talking about his plans for families in the UK, and there's lots of calls on him to act on lots of issues. But there is a World Summit in America, starts later on today, the G8 Summit. There's a chance for world leaders to put the issue of malnutrition at the top of the agenda. I know that food security is on the agenda, but it's very much about agricultural production. And this is about trying to get world leaders to put the issue of malnutrition. We've got to break the chains of poverty.
Very well put. Thanks very much for coming in and giving